So the question goes like this. Is it possible to integrate digital signing process of MSI and exe installers in Advanced Installer with a Simply Sign cloud-based electronic signature service? It's built by Asseco I think, and using the Simply Sign desktop and mobile application. So that is, signing is performed automatically when the package is built from Advanced Installer. For example, using the custom sign tool option. This question comes from somebody working at Predictive Solutions. So thank you for the question. And the quick answer is yes, it is possible to do this using the custom signing. For those of you that don't know this, Advanced Installer has the support to digitally sign the packages it edits or creates from scratch, and also the contents of those packages. And along the way, this support has evolved in depending on the needs of our users. So we started with support to sign with digital certificates stored in a local PFX file or other formats. And then you would use files from different cloud solutions like Azure Key Vault or Device Guard. And in the last years, we've also added a new and recommended support for trusted signing from Microsoft. So this is a cloud solution for managing and your digital certificates and storing them on a certified hardware, as it is required for the last almost 2 years now. So if you don't store your certificate in a cloud, in a certified cloud, you will have to store them on a flash drive or certified hardware, which is more expensive and harder to manage on premise. And it's also not friendly if you're using flash drives. These are not friendly for automated build pipelines because you need to manually insert your PIN or password to get that signing done, and it's not something we recommend to. So we currently support only the trusted signing integration, but because there are multiple tool vendors that certificate vendors that also provide their own digital signing tools, we have an option to specify your own custom signing tool. So here, let me zoom in a little bit. By default, this option is set to built-in and is using the signing tools from Advanced Installer. But if you switch to custom, you can specify the path to your own signing tool. Just go down and select the exe. In this case, the exe provided by the vendor that is going to give you the digital certificate. And I'm just going to pick SuperOrca here as an example, but obviously you need to have an exe that is the signing tool that's going to run. And then you specify the command line that will be executed by the CXE. So what we do is that for each file from the package that gets to be signed, and the files you can find here, the list of files that will be signed. So you have your MSI, XC, MSIX, and files that are part of your package. So if I go and add in the updater in the package, you will see here also the updater exe and whatever files you have in your application. And for each file from the package and the output generated by Advanced Installer, this command line will be executed and the file path will be appended at the end of this command line. So the signing operation will get executed using your signing tool, your certificate details, wherever you store that certificate, and the files from the package. So it behaves almost the same way as the support that we have in the built-in functionality. The only difference is that it will take you a little bit more longer in the initial phase to configure this command line and specify any dependencies you have for your tool and so on. But once you've done this and you've tested it and it's working, you can copy this configuration in as many projects as you have. And it will work without any problems, just like our default integrations work in this scenario. And so it doesn't matter which certificate vendor you are using. You can use all of them as long as they are running on a Windows operating system. So just like Advanced Installer, because if they provide you a signing tool that runs only on Linux, we can't use that. Another question that we got is the following one. Is it possible in Advanced Installer to create a custom installer template, including the visual appearance, layout, colors, buttons, and configuration, and save it in a way that it can be reused as a starting point for new projects? If so, how can such a template be imported and shared with team members? We got this question from Damien. So thank you, Damien. It's this is very easy to do with Advanced Installer. It's a functionality we have for many years now, has evolved a little bit, and but it's not quite visible because it's not used by many of our users. So when you start a new project, you have the options to create any of these projects that you have here. So you can create an empty project or start for some of our templates that we have. And some of you might have noticed we have here an entry point that says custom templates. As you can see, this is empty for me here because I'm on a new machine where I don't have any new templates created. So custom templates are projects, as Damien mentioned, that contain configurations which I want to reuse. Let's say I want to have a custom configuration for the digital signing, as I showed you earlier, or I want to have some project that always contains a list of registry entries. So all we have to do is to create the project. Let's say we enable digital signing, as I said, and configure custom signing for our project. And then we also want all of our projects to have some registry keys. Okay, let me find the registry view. And I don't want the path, but I want the version, and I want the version to be always under the current user product name. And I also want to be here like a product name of the product name saved with application name. Okay, perfect. So now usually save these changes into a new project. And you can do this if you have a single application, and that's perfect. But if you have multiple applications for which you want to reuse this space, configurations with maybe some custom actions, whatever you add in the project, or some dialogues, as Damien asked, the option you want to choose is Save as Template. So let me zoom in a little bit. So here in the File menu, usually instead of using Save or Save As, just go and select Save as Template. You'll be prompted with the default path for our repository, which is stored on your local machine, but you can change this path, as I'll show you in a minute, to use a network share. So you can share these templates with colleagues from your team. And this is my sample template that I'm going to have a very unique name for it. And once we save this and go back to creating a new project, not this one. Okay, new project. We should see here the sample template project available in the custom templates. So next time when you want to create a new project in Advanced Installer, you'll have this template available. So the idea here is that you don't want to copy a project file created with Advanced Installer and use that as a base to start a new project, because these projects contain unique IDs that are injected inside your MSIs. And you might have problems when you install both applications on the same machine, even if you think that these are completely different applications. They share some of these IDs, and you will have problems when upgrading or uninstalling one of the applications with conflicts in resources on when it comes to registering those resources on the machine. So always use the template option to create a new project from that existing template. It's available in all of the editions of Advanced Installer, all the paid editions of Advanced Installer. And now the new project should contain the settings that I configured, as you see, the test digital signing configurations and the registry that I added in my case here, the new registry and the one that I moved. And this new project is now in memory. If I want to save it, I just save it as a new project. So you see we have my initial project that was created when we first created the template, and this one. Let's do a complete template demo too. And these projects should be completely different. Let's see. Web terminal. If I have a new diff tool on this machine, I've just installed this machine recently, so I might not have something to diff this tool for you. So you can easily compare them. But let's open them with Notepad++, even if we don't have a diff tool. No, I don't want that. And we can have a quick look on the projects to see. For example, we have the upgrade code, which is important to be unique for each family of applications, and also the product code. So if you would copy these projects, instead of using the template solution that I showed you, these IDs would be identical. In our case, as you can see, these are different IDs, along with other IDs from the project. You can see here the components IDs that change. If I scroll down a little bit, so this area, this is very important to have unique IDs too, even if basically they are the same resources. So we have the same registry created in the product. Of course, it would be a different path because the product name is a variable that's going to change for each of the application. But if you look at the project configuration, you say, okay, this is identical, and it could be misleading. So always use this option to save as template when you want to duplicate a project and use it for another application that maybe shares a part of your configuration. It will save you a lot of headaches when you start testing your packages. I sent the team some screenshots by email, but wanted to share this here as well. I use your product daily and rely on it, and in the current release, version 22.7, I've run into an issue. The project file I use as a template creates an MSI that opens the install dialog twice. If the user clicks one dialog, just moves in front of the other. Are you aware of this? No, Michael, but by sending me this, you've just increased the priority of this issue. So I'll double check with my colleagues from the support team if they haven't replied to you. From what you're saying, it seems like there is an issue with the published event, that it's incorrectly being loaded or duplicated when the new project gets created. So basically, let's go into my project that I created from a template, and let's see if I see something fishy with this project that just got created, but I haven't changed the theme. Install dialog. Let's go to install dialog. Install dialog. Close the current dialog. It's the published events look right. Okay, here there doesn't seem to be any loop. So the main one should be the published event that closes the current dialog. And then the classic messages if you're out of space or checking other stuff. But usually it should just have the close return dialog. If you have a different published event here, maybe there is a bug or something misconfigured in your project if we can't reproduce this on your machine. But I will follow up with the team on this one. Let me write this down. Thank you for the follow-up, Michael. While converting AppV to MSIX, will there be any issues with application functionality? What are the main steps that need to be noted apart from signing the MSIX procedure? Thank you, Vidya. So as it was noted, one of the main differences is that when you build an MSIX package, you need to also digitally sign in. Otherwise, you cannot install it, and you this is something that you didn't do with AppV in the past. Another important aspect that you need to investigate is the scripts that you have next to your package. So with the AppV, you could have the user or machine configuration where you specify if you had a script running when the virtual environment was being launched or closed, or at one of the 16, if I remember correctly, or 12 different entry points that you had for a virtual for an AppV application. Those scripts cannot be currently imported into an MSIX when you convert that with Advanced Installer. So you need to evaluate the purpose of those scripts, and you can adapt them to either using the package support framework integration from Advanced Installer, or another solution depending on how you deploy those scripts into your infrastructure. Maybe you could use an additional script in Intune, or your endpoint console management tools. So in Advanced Installer, to import the AppV package, you just go to the new page, as you said, starting a new project, and you can have a new package started. And I don't want this one. I want to convert a new package. So I should be able to convert one from here. Convert an old package to MSIX. And here you select your source. It can be MSI, AppV, MSIX. You just select. You can do all of this from the command line too. So you can have a script. We have a sample on our blog. And I don't think I have any AppV packages recently. Let's see if I have something on this machine. No. But for the purpose of these demos, we'll try to look for an MSIX package. And the wizard should be similar. So you select the MSIX or AppV package and you just follow through the wizard. It imports the resources and it will create for you a new project where you can see the files from the package and whatever other resources you have. And for an MSIX package, if you have scripts, you should go to App Compat View, and here you can use the start or end PowerShell script support to add and execute scripts when your application is launched or closed inside the MSIX container. And this might be an option to replace some of the scripts that you are using when you are deploying AppV. I know there was, for example, an option, a very used practice of using scripts to deploy drivers with along with AppV applications. You could do something similar here, but it's not as flexible as it was. For example, there were users that were deploying a driver for a printer or for some application every time the application was launched, and when the application was closing, the driver was removed from that environment. This is not easy to do. You can deploy the driver, but it's a one-time deployment, and that's it. It's not as easy as to remove it every time the application is closed with MSIX. Another anonymous question. When I install another MSI as a prerequisite, can I pass the install location selected for the current MSI to the child MSI? Yes, you could. I don't understand why you would want to do into the same location. It seems like a mess going to be created into the same folder. You would at least want to have a child subfolder created there, but you can do that. So, in order to do that, you need to have the prerequisite set as to be during the main installation of the package. So you cannot have this as a global prerequisite. So let's create a new project, an empty project, and go to prerequisites page. Here it is. So we have our list of predefined prerequisites. I'm just going to add one of them for the purpose of this demos. No, I don't want it. This is now was at by default as a global prerequisite. But since you want to capture the install path configured by the user, global prerequisites get installed before the main application gets installed. So you will not have the chance to capture anything at this point. You want to move this prerequisite to be installed during the main installation of your package. And because I added .NET, you cannot it. So let me delete this one and just add a normal package as a prerequisite. Let's see this one. So but LMSX is not a good demo because you can't change the install path. Let's try a different one. Do we have an exe here? Yeah, we have an exe. Let's assume this exe is built with Advanced Installer. It doesn't matter, but it accepts a command line for you to pass. So all you have to do is to go to the installation tab and specify the command line that you want to be installed. So let's say installation path is target here. You want to set this one to the value that the users are setting for the main package that is contained. And the main package in Advanced Installer has the default, has the installation path set in the app.dir property. So what you have to do is to set a similar command line here. So app.dir will always be the value that you want to pass over. Target dir will differ depending on the prerequisite that you are deploying and whatever property that prerequisite is using to accept the install path as a parameter in the command line. Of course, you can add multiple properties here depending on whatever you want to pass in the command line. You can configure this based on UI levels if you want to have different command lines for different depending on the UI level of the main package. And the switches that you add here will be appended to the switches that you specify in the command line field. So it will be concatenated to this one and will generate a longer command line that will be passed to the main package. This will always be passed to the package, no matter the UI level that the package gets executed with. And basically, with a prerequisite, no matter how many prerequisites it is, the command line is the only way to communicate between the main installer and the prerequisite itself. It's the same principle. It's a similar principle that you have with the default custom actions, where you cannot have the value accessed directly from a property, and you need to set the custom action data for those properties in order to pass that information inside the custom action. But here you need to set the command lines with whatever values you want to be passed to the installer, and the prerequisite, when it will get executed, will receive these values from the command line. Can the buttons be edited? Which buttons are you referring to, Rafal? Do you mean the dialog, the buttons from a dialog that we see? Yes. Okay. So you want to customize completely the buttons on the dialogs. Yes, you can change even the theme. So let's go back a little bit in the dialogs page in Advanced Installer. You have multiple options to customize the UI there. So the first option is to use one of our predefined themes. So you have the classic one that runs inside an MSI. You don't need anything. Then if you want to run using the enhanced UI options or exe bootstrapper, you have multiple themes here that we have. Some use HTML for rendering. Some use image buttons. Some use WinUI. And all of them have, as you see, these buttons are stylized. We have different colors. So let's say if we go to the surface theme and we set this as current, all the dialogues will look similar with this default. You can change some options from here, like the border or flat, and some backgrounds that you want, the logos, of course, that needs to be changed. And you also have these tabs here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you can define if you want this type of external UI to be only on install or also on uninstall. If you want to use WinUI rendering, if you're targeting newer systems, you might use this one. And it's going to be more flexible in customizing the installer, because you're going to be able to work with basically a XAML file in the end that can give you much more options to customize your project. Then you have some of the resources that we load in the installer, and you can change those resources. So usually here you'll see a preview in the middle of the screen, like for every button that we have in the project. And you can customize these if you want and replace them. Here you have the styles from the package, and then you go to dialogues page. In the dialogues page, you'll see a basic rendering. So these dialogues don't look so pretty now because what you get editor from our view is not able to load them just as they look at runtime. close as look that we can do at the moment. But you can try the test installation UI, and this will build like a dummy package, and it will show you the UI to make it easier to test when you have. It's useful when you have a large package and the build time takes like 5-10 minutes or something like that, and you don't want to wait every time for that. Okay. And it will just in a couple of seconds build you the package, so you can have a look at the UI and see how it's looking in on the background. And for these buttons, you can play a lot with the options from here. So you can change here. This is an image button, so it has an image source for changing the. You need to find a property. The property is Metro install button. Then you go to Teams page, and you call Metro install button and edit the property and change here the fonts and colors and stuff like that to customize the UI. So all of these features in the dialog editor require you to have an enterprise edition or architect edition. Each of those give you full access to the dialog editor. The professional edition gives you access only to the predefined dialogue. So you can use any of our themes with the professional editions, but you cannot customize them. Only the enterprise and architect editions have access to all these customizing options. Did you see the notification from Microsoft? So starting with July 28, trusted signing will require an upgrade to their tooling. Yes, we've received the same email as you probably received to those that are using trusted signing. Lucky for us was that we were already in a process of upgrading the tools. And that was it's included in our testing cycle. So if everything goes to plan, by the somewhere mid-June, we will release the next version 22.8 of Advanced Installer, which will include the updated version of the trusted signing tool. I think it will be 1.0.6 something. I don't remember that version exactly. That's going to be included in Advanced Installer. So you don't have to do anything as long as you upgrade Advanced Installer. So after we release version 22.8, this will work for you. And if you have an older version of Advanced Installer and for some other reasons you don't want to or you cannot upgrade it, all you have to do is to go back to the digital signature page and switch from the built-in option to the custom signing option, as we've said, and then just specify the path to your version of the sign tool from Microsoft, the latest version that you have on your machine. And this way you can use even the newer tools of trusted signing with the older versions of Advanced Installer. But for the most of you will just work automatically. And the latest version of Advanced Installer will also automatically detect a newer version of the trusted signing client. So if you update that separately on your machine or through some other method, we will use that one in the future to make this dependency management much better. We are facing an issue with repackaging in Hyper-V. We enable the virtual switch, but still error. What are the IP configuration changes that we need to do for Hyper-V and VMs? So all the details for repackaging in VMware or Hyper-V are documented in our user guide. I don't know them by heart at the moment, and we can't have a full troubleshooting sessions only on that one. So let me search this. If you haven't found it in our user guide, you should have this repackaging now in a Hyper-V machine. And here you should have all the installations that you need and the best practices for repackaging configuration of the machine and other settings that you have are all available in this section of our user guide. And if you can't find something here, please email us at support@advancedinstaller.com, and my colleagues will help you. What I remember, it was an issue like 3-4 months ago, and I'm not sure if it was for Hyper-V or VMware. There was a problem with a certificate that we were installing in a virtual machine, for remote repackaging, and that was something that got outdated and was giving us errors when we were trying to connect to the machine. I'm not sure if it's the same problem for you and you're using an older version, but just in case, it's free. Email us at support@advancedinstaller.com with a short description of this problem, and my colleagues will get back to you by the next day. Yes, with the XAML files, raw file, you can basically change anything. My colleagues have written some articles. There are also some examples on our forums. If you can't find the options in the UI as I showed you, just email them at support and tell them, hey, this is what I did, this is what I want to do, and they'll point you to the right resources to update the files. And if you can share that as a template for other users online, that would be great, to have others see what cool things you can build with Advanced Installer. And this brings me to the first question that was asking about project templates. So I showed you how to save the project as a template, but I didn't show you how to share the template. So in Advanced Installer, you have a repository manager. Basically, you can save dialogues as template prerequisites or project templates and other configurations. And here in the repository manager, you'll see all the resources that you have saved as templates. And from the settings area, you can change the path to your repository. By default, this is saved locally on your machine, but you can change a network to a network solution, network path, say the storage as we have here. And this way, or you can move an existing repository if you haven't created anything in, if you have already resources created in it. And this way, the anything that you've changed, that you save as a template, be it dialog prerequisites or project templates, can be used by other colleagues. All they have to do is to go to settings and change their repository path to use the same path as you do if you have a network share or something that's available for all the colleagues on the machine, or even for you if you're sharing this, if you're working on these projects on multiple machines and want to easily access these templates. Thank you everybody for joining us today. If you have more questions, just follow up over email to support@advancedinstaller.com. My colleagues or I will gladly answer with any of them, and we'll also convert to articles some of them if we have if we see it's a question that that's getting that could be helpful to other users too. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're looking forward to talk to you and our colleagues in our next AMA sessions. Have a great day.